Okay, hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. And this is Guy from RPGECOM, and today I have a special guest from Europe. And if to be more particular, someone from a country which is very close to my heart, Bulgaria, as I partially grew up there. So hello, Nick from hellotax.
Hey guy, nice to meet you. And to be honest, the story is even more interesting because I'm actually originally from a city called Veliko Turnavo, which is the old capital of Bulgaria, which is 100 kilometers from Russia, where guy spent his high school years. So I've been to Russia a lot of times, but we met like several years later on, and we spoke in the summer and from my beach spot, and actually one of the best beach in Bulgaria, and he knew about it. But long story short is that Guy is running a very good agency and I'm running a partnership agency. So what I do on my end is I help companies to grow internationally through partnerships. And one of my first partners and first clients is actually hellotax. And just to give you some feedback about hellotax and how I ended up here, I used to be an e-commerce seller myself. I was selling private label supplements for 10 years from 2010 until 2020. And I sold my business 2 years ago. And when I sold my business, I was actually a client of Hello. I sold my company, you're selling your company, tax. Can you build a partner program and grow that? And I said, of course, I'm too young to retire. Let's do it for you guys. And the one thing, first, know why I use hellotax, because selling in Europe in multiple markets, it's a mess unless you have one-stop shop solution for that. And we are using multiple accountants, multiple providers. It was a big mess, Excel, emails, whatever. So this is actually where hellotax came into the picture, because they solved the issue for us and they actually managed 10 of our markets, just one company, one account manager.
I wonder, have you been an expert in Europe before you joined hellotax, or you became an expert after you joined?
SaaS solution and it's easy as possible. And more seller to used to know before, and I made so many mistakes. And the reason for that is because I was, sellers, they're usually focused on their brands. They don't focus too much on services that they can help them out, which is probably an issue that I see today. But if I knew the things that I knew right now, 10 years ago, I wouldn't be making like 7-figure, like we made like 5 million revenue was our top year. So probably have done probably 10 times more because we didn't know that there is companies who can help out. We didn't search for companies. We developed our own software for affiliates, for partners. We actually developed everything in-house. And this is complete bullshit. I mean, there are so many tools which are cheaper. I
agree.
But honestly, no, if you don't know, you just make some mistakes and you move ahead. But usually you actually learn more from the mistakes. So I got a little bit off topic, but the reason of what we do in hellotax. Now, I started for hellotax because I like the company, I like the founders. And to be honest, it was an interesting project. And I have this thing which I do with people. I meet somebody, even if you're not ideal partners, I must have a partner for you. So I connect people. And this is what we do. What I was missing before, I'm doing it right now. We help you with the VAT, but we also connect you with other partners like Guy and other companies who do the other parts of the business, because by yourself, you'll be stuck at a certain point and you'll fail. That's why we're doing all this stuff. So today we're gonna talk about Europe expansion, how to go there, what are the loopholes, how we can make it as easy as possible, and how you can avoid some mistakes. So let me actually share my screen.
While you're sharing, I will share why I want to do this session, because a lot of guys have misconceptions about Europe, about how things are going and working there, especially after the Brexit and the UK went off Europe, and they're not sure how to deal, and they're really afraid. It's like a taboo especially for Israeli sellers. They're all aimed at the North American marketplace, and they're a bit afraid of going into Europe, especially because of the regulations and the VAT things, and maybe maybe if we break down everything for them, it will be much more friendly for them. And this is exactly the topic of today. So I will give you the stage to present everything, and I will tackle you with some questions on the go.
Okay, that's actually a very good to know. Second introduction, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to change the mindset of people. I have a lot of partners in Israel. I have a lot of partners in the USA globally. So I'm trying to show them how we can expand to Europe, because the main reason is that a lot of people just have no idea and they don't want to try, which is a mistake not only in e-commerce but in general. Because if you try something, you have 50% chance of failing. If you don't try, the chance to fail is 100%. So usually it's your mindset, but by giving you some tips, it can actually make you more confident to do the next step. So just a quick overview. Now I have a partnership agency, and anybody who is a service provider, we can do a free audit for you. That's what we do all the time. This is the free stuff. So I'm not going to go into details for that, but that's part of my business. So and for Europe, why should you expand to Europe, and why, if you're not doing that, why you should consider it. So the first and the main reason is this number: 450 million new customers. These are the people who are actually over 18. So everybody who is over 18 is a potential client for you. A lot of people don't know that, but Amazon Europe has 300 million unique views per month, which is 50% more than the Amazon US. So if you don't know that, you can see, you're missing a huge opportunity. Another thing, Amazon Europe sellers, 1.5 million. US sellers on Amazon US, 2.5 million. So you have 50% more views, and actually you have less than half
less competition.
Exactly. So see, this, I always love numbers, because otherwise it's bullshit. If I tell you we have a lot of we have a lot of clients, a lot of this is bullshit. Numbers are the one thing that can convince you, and it convinced me as well to be more confident, because I'm seeing that with partners. So obviously, you might be scared, transforming your company from selling to one market to selling to a whole new continent. Of course, you have 50 new countries, but you can look at that not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity, because the breakdown of small markets make it more easier, less competitive for you guys. Of course, you have a lot of languages, but that's why we have partners who can help you with the localization. Currencies, that's why we have the fintech companies, which is another partner. So for every problem, there is a solution. And the one thing that we just, Guy mentioned earlier, you have more views, less competition. Remember that. Europe might be hard because you have like VAT in multiple markets, which is a false assumption, because you don't need multiple VATs to search for. But keep in mind, more potential clients, less competition, and it's still early, which we cannot say for the USA. Everybody goes to the USA, which is great. But if you're doing great in the USA, and if you're not selling or trying to sell in Europe, then you're crazy. I'm totally serious about that. So, and the last part about last two things why you should consider if you should sell in Europe is, if your competitors are not doing that, you should do it before them. You can get the market share, and it's much easier once you establish yourself. And the last part is, you sell to a whole new continent, whole new market, you'll be ordering more stock. The more stock you order, the cheaper will be your sourcing price. So these are all benefits that can add up. And the other thing, which I don't have it in the presentation, I don't have time, Europe is actually more profitable. You might be doing more sales, but when you combine all the Amazon markets, you'll be making more profit. And at the end, profit is what you care, not sales, not revenue.
Even though the VAT?
Yeah, of course, because see, you have in the USA, you have like sales tax as well. So the tax is always there. You play by the same rules like so VAT is
but
there.
In the US,
but still,
the sales tax are being added, on the expense of the buyers in the cart in the end. And here you need to reorganize your VAT prior and on the go.
Exactly. But see, it's the same thing. It's paid by the consumer and it's transferred tax authority. So it's not. Of course, if if you want, you can take the expense yourself, but it's advised that, this is something that you add on top of your price, because this is something which the client is paying and you obviously pay to the tax authority. But even with that, it's much more profitable. And the reason for that is because there is less competition. And you know how Amazon works. If you're the only one, you'll be getting all the sales. So it's not rocket science. Just it's a little different in like I said, language, this stuff. But these are the few of the reasons why you should consider Europe.
Do you see a difference between
thing,
sellers that
everybody
coming
asks me, okay,
from
what are the blockers? So
yeah, just wanted to ask you if you see any difference between sellers that are already selling in the US, for example, and they go and expand to Europe, then people that start their business on Amazon right away from Europe, like maybe the difference in success rate, difference in I don't know no.
Yeah, I mean, the companies who are selling in the USA already, they're, successful sellers there. They have first more money, then they have more experience. So it's easier for them. So anybody who is just starting, of course, it will be harder, regardless of the market that you go to. But the thing is, if you're doing well in the USA, and if you're not selling in Europe, then the issue is with you, not with Europe or the marketplaces. But the most important part is that first, this is what are actually these blockers about. These are things. New seller coming to Europe from, let's say, Israel or anywhere, or a seller who is already established in the USA and wants to sell in Europe. The one thing which is always important is to have a product, because if you don't have product, you don't need RPGECOM, you don't need hellotax, you don't need anything. But this is the good thing, is we have a lot of tools, like Zongur is a close partner of mine. There are other product research tools. So I'm sure Guy has done some videos with some of the other softwares. I'm sure they use something. There is tools which can help you to find if your product is competitive in Europe, in which markets, how much you need to invest to expand there, who are your competitors, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. So you can do a marketing research before you expand, because if you have tailored the right product, then the other things will be much easier. Because if you don't have a good product, or if you don't do a good marketing research, we can offer you the VAT, we can help with everything else, but the goal at the end is to make money and make profit. So you need to, this is probably one of the most important things, prepare, and then go ahead. And we have actually a proverb, a saying in Bulgaria: measure 7 times, cut once. So if you do the proper planning, then you can have better results. And so obviously, having the product, either you have an idea, either you have existing one, do your research. There is tools for that. Guy can help out with that, I'm sure. And then let's say we have the product.
That your business will die or thrive based on your product. This is all that you start with or finish with.
Exactly. One thing that you mentioned, another thing which is important, having the product is good, but don't rely only on this product. Keep on adding new products. Always leave 10% for testing new products, new variations, because I was selling in Europe for 10 years. We launched a total of 20 brands, 20 separate products, and some of were successful, some are not. So we're always testing. If something works, we scale and expand. So you should always be doing that, because Amazon is very dynamic. E-commerce is very dynamic. So you should have an action plan, but always keep on testing. So let's say you have your product, either an idea or you have it already in the USA or other markets, and you would like to sell. Then the next thing that you should consider are the blockers number 2, which is VAT, product compliance, fiscal representative, custom sent logistics. So the one which you need to check first is the product compliance. In some markets, they have the so-called plastic tax, Germany, France. So you need to check if you need to set up get some specific certificates and have your product compliance checked. And we have partners for that who can actually help out. But this is before the VAT, because sometimes it might take a few months to get the certificate. So this is the first thing that you need to do. The second actually thing that you need to is the VAT. Let's say if you're selling on Amazon or any marketplace, this is the first thing Amazon is going to ask you about. What is your VAT number? So you need to apply for VAT.
Can you say in just one sentence what is VAT for those who are really beginners?
Okay, sure. So VAT is a tax which is paid by consumer, to the brand, to the owner, and then the brand owner transfers that to the tax authority. So it's like, to be honest, it's called value-added tax. It's the same like the sales tax. It's just a tax that you need to pay when you're selling physical products, also services, but we don't cover anything for services. So I'm not an expert there. And
so each country
this is
has
how,
a VAT actually. It's not something
exactly.
that is specific for
Yeah, I mean,
Europe.
no, I mean, they have it globally in the USA, they call it sales tax. Each country has a different VAT rate, but this is something that you shouldn't worry about because hellotax has a software. You connect your account, we measure, we calculate everything. But in general, whenever you're selling like your products, you need to know which countries you're selling the most, because the rate in Europe is around 20, but this is not the correct answer. In some countries it's 19. I think I might be mistaken, but I think in Hungary it's 27. So the thing is, if you're selling a lot in a certain market, you should know the exact VAT rate so you can calculate that in your sale price. So obviously there's not eating your profit. But this is something that you must have because this is what the marketplace requires, the VAT number. And the VAT number usually takes 2 to 4 months, depending on the market. And the one thing that a lot of sellers make is a mistake. They go to Amazon, and Amazon tells them, let's do the PANU. Okay, don't listen to Amazon. I mean, PANU would mean to do five or even more VAT registrations at once. And Amazon suggests that because they make fees from the PANU, the logistics, but this is not the smart way. Remember that, you should look after your own interests, not Amazon. Amazon is going to help, but they're not going to, obviously, they make money, they need to make more money. So that's why they push for it. You need just one VAT number to expand in Europe. And
so
I'll tell you why.
If you're going to elaborate on PANU further on, so I will not ask you, but if not, can you say a sentence about it?
Yeah, PANU is good if you have like an established brand already and you need to hold stock in multiple markets. So Amazon rotates the stock and fulfills the orders from the closest location. But when you do that, you need to have a VAT number in each location because you hold stock in any given country, you must have VAT.
So obviously, what we call like a nexus.
Exactly. See, I think they call it that, but I'm not an expert in the USA. But the thing is, this is now something that you should consider. If you're established brand and if you're sure that you need that, start from it right away. Second option is get one VAT. We usually recommend Germany, and I'll tell you a little later why we do that.
Then you hold all your stock in Germany.
Exactly. You hold your stock in Germany. EU-based, non-EU-based, it doesn't matter. Actually, for EU, non-EU-based companies, if your company is based in Israel, in the USA, it's even better because you hold your stock in Germany. You're using Amazon FBA, for example. You make sales from Germany and you fulfill your orders to all the Amazon marketplaces and all the clients across Europe. So one VAT, you can make sales to anybody across Europe from any
27.
Amazon
how many
marketplace.
Countries are in the EU? 27, I think.
I think 27. I'm not sure if it might be 26 after UK. Anyways, let's say 27. So always now you can sell to 27 new markets with one VAT. And let's assume that the VAT is like a test campaign. You got the one VAT, you get it, let's say in 2 to 3 months. If your company is based in the USA, you don't need to do translations. So English speakers have an advantage. If your company is incorporated in the USA, there is a specific tax authority which deals with US company applications, meaning that you're going to get your VAT much quicker than a company based in UK or China, for example. So you have an advantage. Another thing, fiscal representation insurance. This is actually like an extra fee that some countries require you to pay. So if you don't pay your VAT, there is going to cover that. This is something that is paid only by non-EU companies. And this is another reason why we recommend Germany. Germany doesn't require that. So it's cheaper, it's easier. And the last part now, customs and logistics. Now we have partners in Germany who cover all that. We have customers who cover like logistics and customs everywhere, but Germany, being the biggest market, is like the gateway to Europe, you know. And that's why they have all this like better like conditions to actually make you expand there. And the last and not the least is Amazon is the biggest market. Amazon Germany is the biggest after the USA one. After Brexit, so obviously it's
not including
UK
that we will speak separately about UK, but
UK. I mean, we're gonna cover UK because we have some good news for UK as well. But Germany is probably the best thing because you're located in the central location of Europe. It's an ideal fulfillment hub for your business to grow, and this is what you should do. This is how I will do it, and this is how I was doing it myself. You know, when you expand, you start from one location with as little investment as possible, as little bureaucracy as possible. So just have one bit. You can start selling across Europe. And then you can see, okay, I'm selling very well in these markets. Then it would make sense to set up a VAT in this country and enable the FBA there as well. But only after you validate that you're actually doing great in this market, and you can do that. But to actually go to this stage, we have blocker number 3, culture and language barrier. This is as important as number 1, because having the right product is great. If you don't do proper translation localization, you get in trouble. Amazon launched Amazon Sweden last January. They used some of their softwares to translate the marketplace. It was a big mess, a lot of mistakes. And so this is like an example. Even big companies make mistakes. So remember that. No, I have a lot of partners who can help you with that. I'm sure Guy has such partners as well. Localization, translation, English, even English speakers, they should do that, because in UK, you know, you call it training. In the USA, you call it practice. And these are just 2 words. So if your listing is not written properly, people wouldn't connect with it and wouldn't buy. And there's other specifics also about keywords. For example, in Germany, there is, I think, 10 million Turkish population. So obviously, if you're selling in Germany, you should have Turkish keywords in your listing as well. So these are small things that you should consider. But if you don't know, obviously, it will not going to work out. The same thing with like Belgium. Belgium, you know, half of the population speaks French, the other speaks Flemish, which is Dutch. The same thing in Spain, in like France, Italy, etc. So these are all small things that you might be surprised, but I have a lot of partners that have showed me brands which are global brands and they're not doing it properly. So following these steps would guarantee you that you have success. Of course, and these are just things that I did not know myself when I was selling in Europe. I had a lot of troubles with translations. I was using agencies based in Bulgaria, which was a mistake. And then we had to have a local person in the country translate them after that. So this is very important, because if clients don't buy your product, you don't need taxes, you don't need anything. So number 1 is important, having the product. Number 3 is very important, to actually have good sales and expand. So obviously these are the blockers. You shouldn't be scared, because like I said, Germany is the easiest solution in Europe. Another market, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that in my mindset, barrier is always an opportunity. So whenever you have you think about a barrier, think about that there is thousands of other sellers that think like you and are afraid to come and get into Europe. So it's actually an opportunity. This is the same about, you know, much more complicated products that have a bigger barrier to launch on Amazon, for example. People are afraid of this because they have regulations and, you know, mechanical or technological products. So actually, those are the products that most of the people are afraid of. And same about here. Maybe the fact that the European market is still not saturated as in the US is maybe because of this reason, because people are just have no information on how to do it well. So this is obviously, as you understand the idea of this presentation. So take it not as a barrier, as an opportunity.
No, actually, I mean, this actually is a very good summary, because what we're doing right now, it's actually a reason why a lot of people probably don't try it. But this is actually an opportunity, like Guy said, because if people are not doing it, this means that it's hard. It's harder than the usual. But if it's harder, meaning that if you do it yourself, it will be easier after that. And I know it from people who run agencies like they're telling me Europe is harder to start because of and all that, but it's actually a long-term revenue stream. So we should consider it. Now you push a little more at the beginning, but then it would be easier for you to maintain that. So, and let's go to the next slide. And what problems are we solving at hellotax? So the main thing that we're solving is the VAT compliance, because when you sell in your home country, your local accountant is going to deal with your VAT. So you don't need hellotax. We don't help you with that. But when you start expanding to other markets is where we actually come into the picture. And this is why hellotax was established as a company. The founders, which are called Christian and Christoph, they were ex-Amazon sellers. They met in a Facebook group. They were chatting about selling online and not having like a company who can help out with that. And one of them suggested, okay, let's build a software and build a company. So that's what happened in 2016, 6 years ago. And now we have around 2,000 clients. 90% of those are actually Amazon sellers. We have 15,000 subscribers. And the last year I managed to build like a partner network of 400 companies for them, because like Guy mentioned earlier, yes, it's hard, but when you have the right software, the right process and the right partners, you can obviously make the next step. So the only thing that you should not be afraid is to obviously make the next step. And that's why I'm mentioning all these softwares and all these partners, because like some of them, they can actually give you like an forecasted investment to expand in Europe, which is not accurate, but would give you an idea what you should expect. So that's what we do. In regards to VAT, I'm going to go a little deeper into what you need to consider when you're selling in Europe. So the one thing that you need to know first is you need to know what's your VAT liability from the past and the present in all the markets that where you're operating. So this is why I'm always suggesting like a certain setup for a company, because I know how it would work out. But if you don't know, keep in mind that we have something called backdating. So if you've been selling, if you have not been reporting properly, that could be actually paid and your situation could be fixed. So there is nothing that we cannot fix, but this is something that you need to know. If you're selling, you need to know your VAT liability. You need to register for VAT in one or more markets. The reason to register VAT is if you hit the threshold, which is not important anymore. Let you know in the next slide why is that. And the second reason, which is the one which triggers the VAT registration most of the time, is if you hold stock, you need VAT. It's simple as that. So, and the other thing, when you're moving goods from one market to one market, you need to have actually clear visibility across what you're doing, because this must be reported in some market. And the last thing is you need to have complete visibility on all your sales channels: Amazon, Shopify, Cdiscount, Kaufland, whatever. And the good thing about all that is that all that is done through hellotax. You connect your Amazon, you connect your Shopify account, and we manage everything there. But keep in mind, if you have like any outside of Amazon Shopify transactions, you would need to upload that manually. If you don't upload the full information, we don't have the full data. So your responsibility with us, at least as a company, is to obviously provide the accurate information, and the software will do the rest. And you need to deal with your business. And we're not going to do like a demo of the software unless, of course, we have more time. But the idea is to be actually as easy as possible for the brand owner to deal with their business, not with the VAT, because nobody's an expert. Even accountants are not experts outside of their home country. And that's what we're doing at hellotax.
A quick question before you go on. If you can confirm it, because I just understood it from one of the clients that we are trying to get them into Germany. Before they send the stock into Germany, they need already to have their VAT set, right? Because it's actually will be some kind of a problem. Exactly. You need to have VAT from the first product that you hold. So usually they ask for the if you're using Amazon FBA, like the Amazon, like the FBA like agreement, or if you have a warehouse, they need to have a proof that you're gonna hold stock, and that's actually what they need from a tax authority. So this is how it works, Yeah, it's crucial, because if you said it's between 2 to 4 months to get the VAT numbers, you guys, you need to plan your inventory, your upcoming inventory to Europe or the specific country you want to start with. If Germany, for example, in order not to have problems on the first step that you land on in Germany.
Exactly, and that's why I know we have it as like steps: product compliance, VAT, until obviously waiting for the VAT, arrange the import of your stock, and probably 2-3 weeks before you start selling, you should start preparing translation and localization. So these are the steps that everybody should actually follow. And the next part is complexity of the VAT registration process. So that's something which we discussed a little earlier about the pan-EU. That's why you shouldn't do pan-EU, because obviously markets are different, time frames for getting the VAT is different, and you might obviously have one VAT earlier, one VAT later. So that's why we have this chart. Now, Poland, Germany, and Italy are the easiest markets to set up in Europe. But of course, Poland is not such a big market, but is actually cheaper. So Poland is actually a cheaper alternative to Germany. But the thing is now they require fiscal representation. Another option which is good but is not here is Czech Republic. Czech Republic doesn't require fiscal representation and is cheaper than Germany. So, but if you would like to get probably the perfect solution, it should be Germany. Italy is also good in regards to getting the VAT, but Italy is located in South Europe and is not like an ideal location for like a help for the whole of Europe. And the worst in regards to getting the VAT and what documents are required is Spain. They require original documentation, not retranslation. So unless you're somebody coming from LATAM and you're a Spanish speaker, we don't recommend Spain. So that's in regards to the complexity. Then another thing, reasons we mentioned that earlier, but just to let you know, there is 2 reasons: distance selling threshold. So before, this is when I say before, this was until July last year, 2021. Each country had a different threshold. So whenever you reach the threshold, you were actually required to register for VAT. And obviously, the good news is here that we have the so-called one-stop shop established from July last year. So whenever you start selling from any country to Europe and you reach 10,000 euro, you can opt in and register for the OSS. This is very important. If you don't opt in, you will need to do multiple VAT registrations. So remember that. But this is something that your local accountant can do, because this is usually either from your home country, if you're EU-based entity, if you're non-EU company, let's say from Israel, USA, even UK right now, you can actually choose a country in the Europe which you will use as a home base for OSS. So what you would need: one VAT, one OSS, and you can sell to the whole European Union. And there is actually good news here. If you're selling on Amazon, you don't need the OSS, because Amazon is going to use their own OSS report and they're going to make the sales to the client. So it's a little more complicated, but I'll try to explain it as simple as possible. So Amazon, it's a marketplace. Marketplaces are the so-called deemed supplier, which means they're responsible for collecting the VAT from non-EU companies and paying that to the tax authority. So this is actually good for non-EU companies because you don't need the OSS. Whenever you sell on Amazon, you just need VAT number, and whenever you make a sale, you make a B2B transaction. You sell your product to Amazon, which is a B2B transaction. You just need the VAT, and then Amazon is selling your product to the end client using their OSS registration. And the good thing is that they also collect the VAT and they pay the tax authority. So they actually, first, you don't need the OSS. Second, you don't need to pay the VAT return. It's all done by Amazon, which is great. It's much, much, much easier, to be honest. And so just to summarize, you just need one VAT. If you're selling on Shopify or other marketplace, not unless or actually not marketplace, but like a platform which is not Amazon, eBay, Kaufland, Discount, you need to have the OSS, which is like an additional registration, and you can make sales to all the European Union clients with one VAT and one OSS. On Amazon, you just need one VAT if you're a non-EU company, and for EU company, you would need to have like a VAT plus OSS. And obviously, the other thing about EU-based companies is that you need to have the OSS established in your home country, which is funny because if you look at how it's set up, like non-EU companies have an advantage. selling on Amazon, because you can just choose your home country and you can sell to everywhere across the European Union. And the second reason, we discussed that earlier, storage in the country. From the first unit that you're storing, you need to have VAT, the VAT number. So this is how it works.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about Brexit. So obviously, what happened? Now, before Brexit, that was more than, almost 2 years ago, we were doing a lot of webinars. It was just when I was starting at hellotax. We're trying to educate as many sellers, as many partners as possible, and guess what happened? Nobody was thinking that this would actually happen in reality. So when it happened, everybody was
just mention that
surprised.
Brexit, for those who are not on the wave with us, Brexit is the name of the action that UK, United Kingdom, went out of the European Union and actually became a non-European country by law. So this is actually quite an earthquake in commercial world, in financial world, and of course also impacted hardly the FBA and all the Amazon business.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is that I think, they were not even planning to do, they just did that. People voted and they just had to do it. Otherwise, nobody's happy with that. But what happened after Brexit? A lot of companies doing millions of sales in the UK to Europe, they stopped selling, and vice versa. And that's actually one of the reasons why Amazon UK is no longer like the second marketplace, because before they used to be the gateway to Europe. Right now, companies use Germany or Netherlands for that. So it's a big mistakes in regards to their economy, but there's not our business. So the good thing is that after Brexit, now Amazon saw that actually they're losing a lot of sales, a lot of clients. So what they did, they started actually testing something called the European Fulfillment Network. And one of my parts were actually a pilot for that from the beginning, but they announced that March this year. So obviously, now how does it work? If you're selling products under 150 euro, you can fulfill orders from UK to the EU to the all marketplaces, and vice versa, without the need to go through customs, because Amazon is using their own IOSS registration. And IOSS registration is the abbreviation from Import One-Stop Shop, which is used usually by drop shippers or companies who are fulfilling orders outside of the EU to EU clients. But we're not going to go into details. This is very good if you would like to go to UK instead of Germany. Of course, you would need to obviously make deliveries from there, like shipment would be higher, but actually it's another alternative. And a lot of the sellers selling small products with like a sale price under 150 euro, they can take advantage of that. So obviously, what you need to do if you want to use that, you need to have access to both the UK and the EU Seller Center accounts. You need to have both offers in the UK and the European marketplaces. Obviously, inventory should be eligible and stored in the local fulfillment centers. And of course, the most important part is that the sale price of your product should be under 150 euro. Otherwise, you would need to go for customs. And like I mentioned earlier, Amazon is using their own IOSS registration to do the B2C sales, and that's pretty much how it is. I mean, I'm not sure if you guys have any actually clients doing that, but this is how it works on paper. I've heard that they might have some issues there, but in general, it's like a relief for a lot of companies who stopped selling, and there are plenty of those. Because the other alternative, you need to have a stock in UK, you need to have a stock in Europe, in Germany usually. So actually, it's like a cheaper alternative that you can use to test the markets. Again, if you're, let's say, an English speaker, and if you think that Germany is hard, but honestly, Germany is much better because of the location, the market size, the location, and all the other things that they mentioned. But in general, this is probably another thing that you should consider regarding the UK and Brexit. So I think we mentioned that earlier, but just to summarize now, how I think anybody who is selling to Europe should start, with Of course, if you're a big company, established company, you can do the pan-EU, but still you can choose your markets wisely. Go for markets which are easier to get the VAT, so you can actually start selling as soon as possible. But in general, like the suggestions that we always have, VAT registration in UK or Germany. I will always recommend Germany for the reason that I mentioned earlier. We have a customs partner who can help you to import the stock until you're waiting for the VAT. If you sell outside of Amazon on any platform which is not deemed supplier like Amazon, eBay, Kaufland, Cdiscount, you need to have an OSS registration. This would allow you to be able to sell from one location and make deliveries to clients across the whole European Union. And this will be your setup. And then, of course, you will need to do the VAT monthly payments and plus OSS quarterly payments for those who are selling outside of Amazon. And this is the only thing that you need to start selling in Europe. Of course, you're going to pay a little more for shipping and all the other fees, but this would allow you to test which markets are good and which markets you need to obviously change your listing, probably translation, all this stuff. So you have time to make some changes without making a lot of investments and dealing with VAT, etc. And once you establish that you're selling well in these markets, it's really easy to add additional VAT numbers. And just to summarize now about what we do at hellotax, we have the software. I mean, if you want, guy, we can actually do a demo, but this is how it works. We can do the digital visitor registrations in multiple markets. We cover all the Amazon markets. The software collects the data directly from Amazon or Shopify. We calculate that. We prepare the report and we file that. There is like tax account, like VAT experts in each market. We have account managers who speak multiple languages, and we have like a dashboard which monitors all the sales. And
I will actually add hellotax link beneath this video in the comments, and you will be able to connect with hellotax and see a demo. I know you have a ready to go video demo, so
yeah,
you will be able to see an approach and ask questions.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and this is actually the demo. I'm not sure if you want to. I can actually do the demo in 1 minute. Let me see if we have time.
Maybe we can see how the software looks like. Yeah.
Okay, just give me a second. Okay. Okay, let me just find the link. Let me just show you the software so we can get an exact idea of how it works out. Okay, I need to stop sharing and share again. Okay, just give me a second. Okay. Okay, so let's say now guys, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say now you've listened to our advice, you've started with, let's say, Germany. You get your VAT in 2 to 3 months, and this is what you need to do on our end with our software. So the first thing is now you log into your account. If you're selling, let's say, on Amazon, you just go to the integration page. You have actually an account manager, so they can guide you for that, but I'll show it as simple as possible what is needed from you. So you go to the integration page, you go to Amazon, you put your seller ID, authorization token, save, and that's it. This is the demo account, so we don't have it yet here, but in the real one, you have the Shopify plugin. So you drop your Shopify transactions once per month, and we calculate that as well. And the last part is the manual order upload. Any import transactions, transactions that have VAT, which are not on Amazon, Shopify, you need to upload them manually, and the software is going to calculate that. And we can actually help you reclaim the VAT. And so you connect your account or upload your data, then you're able to see the data like gross turnover, net turnover, total VAT. You can filter by Amazon, FBA, Shopify, or whatever else you're using. You can filter by countries, by periods. The software is actually in German. So in German, it's also, you can have it in English and German. The account managers, they speak English, German, Italian, Spanish, Turkish, Arabic. I might be missing some language, but multiple languages. And then what we do, we get the data from the Amazon integration or the files that uploaded, and we file the report. There is nothing that you need to do. We file the report, then You can filter again by channels, by country, from which to which country moving goods. You can see the type of transactions, and all this data is actually here as well under files and reports. So your accountant, bookkeeper, they can download the data and they can use that for their accounting. And another thing, after we publish the VAT return, after we do the VAT report, then we publish the VAT return here when it's ready. And you can simply come here, download and pay that. And remember, if you're a non-EU company selling on Amazon, you don't need to do that because Amazon is going to collect the VAT, so you don't need to pay anything. And probably the last thing that it's important here, we have a tax letter inbox. So we get all the electronic communication from the tax authorities and we translate that to English and German, and you will be able to see what they require from you. And then we can communicate that with the account manager and we can deal with the tax authorities on there. And the last thing is now in the real account, you see it here, you don't, you can simply add additional VAT registration. So let's say after a few months, you see that you're doing a lot of sales in the new market, you can simply add the new market here. The account manager is going to get in touch with you, collect the documents, and we're going to proceed with the VAT registration. So SaaS solution on the front end and the managed service on the back end is how it is. And I think that's it, Guy.
Yeah, I just during your demo, I recalled my first years in Europe 6 years ago when everything was so unknown, and there was no such solutions, or at least we weren't aware of them, and everything was like for our Israeli British accountant that was sending me each quarter the sum and everything, and it was really a mess. So it's really nice to see that there are organized solutions like this nowadays. Okay, so this was pretty much the exact basic that I wanted to give our followers in accordance to regarding Europe. And the next session, I guess I will need to help them selling on Europe and having experts regarding products and everything. But if you didn't were able to read between the lines, as we say, there's a huge opportunity, and actually everything is much easier in Europe. The bids are lower, the PPC is easier, the traffic, as you saw, is bigger. So it's actually a lot of opportunities here. So once again, if you want to approach to hellotax, just beneath this video, you will see the links and you will be able to approach them. Is there any costs for the software, by the way?
Yes, software is free as long as you're a client. And actually, we're giving away always when they speak somewhere 6 free VAT registrations. So if anybody on your end would like to start, they're gonna save €300 for the VAT registration. So and never talk about pricing, because pricing, we can always find the price if you like the solution. So that's not an issue. Of course, we're not for free, but our price is good. But the service is even better. And of course, now get in touch with the guy, and he'll connect you with me, because taxes are actually personal business. You don't go to the website, you don't buy taxes on the website. So get in touch with him and he'll connect you with me. And then
definitely,
or first he'll help you to find the product and have a plan, and then we can help with the rest and go from there.
So taxes and VAT and regulations is not a sexy thing, but here Nick tried to do it as sexy as possible, and I think you succeeded. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the explanations.
Thank you, Guy.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, guys.